All right, we have more changes unfolding in the U.S. economy and in the world of presidential politics. Changes that have JP Morgan coming out with their New Year predictions, a list of 10 2024 predictions that they believe we'll see unfold throughout the year. And number 3 on the list is President Joe Biden pulling out of the election due to health reasons, they say. Also, a crackdown on full autonomous vehicles and power outages, they say, are coming to major U.S. cities. Realize, these are JP Morgan predictions. We'll look at it. Also, consumer debt soars in November, the second largest surge in credit card debt ever recorded. And Mike Johnson in the House announces Congress has reached a bipartisan agreement to prevent a government shutdown. We have the numbers. We'll look at what kind of damage we're facing here. But before we get started, press the like button, subscribe, share the video with a friend. All that helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, check out our new daily show over at the NotifyAmerica YouTube channel. The link is in the description. JP Morgan's top 10 shock surprises for 2024. Joe Biden withdraws from the 2024 election due to health reasons. Elon Musk's Tesla to face major setbacks as backlash comes for level 5 autonomous vehicles. Argentina's dollarization plan, they say, will fail if it's implemented. Bank stocks do well even with all the storm clouds hovering overhead, and major U.S. cities, they say, will face power outages and blackouts. Those are just a handful of the list of 10 shocks that JP Morgan is predicting will happen in 2024. Now, this list is from one of their top financial strategists, a guy named Michael Clemente, I believe is his name. So this isn't JP Morgan, the bank. This is one of their top analysts who releases this note each year. Now, for some context, let me show you exactly what they're predicting about Joe Biden. They write this: President Biden withdraws sometime between Super Tuesday and the November election, citing health reasons. Biden passes the torch to a replacement candidate named by the Democratic National Committee. They say, due to his exceptionally low approval rating for a president with around a 10% job creation record since his inauguration, historically that spells failure for presidential politics. They also note that that job record number is a byproduct of his inauguration coinciding with the economy reopening, so in reality, the number is closer to 0, not 10%. So JP Morgan believes he's going to withdraw from the election due to some type of health reason, and the DNC is going to nominate a replacement. Think about that for a minute. If what they say turns out to be true, consider what that means. He steps down after Super Tuesday. I suppose giving the DNC a reason, an excuse to say, oh, sorry, no time for an election. We have to just choose someone ASAP to fill the role. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if the Democratic voters will buy that. I doubt the Republicans would. They'd be pissed off that he didn't step down sooner, which is why I feel like if he's going to step down, he'll have to do it ASAP. But who knows? Maybe that's the plan. They do it late so that they can just anoint whoever they want to fill the role. Fourth on their list of shockers is what they say will be the driverless car backlash that's coming, writing in the few places where full level 5 autonomous cars are being tested in real-world conditions like San Francisco and Austin. They've blocked ambulances, hampered other emergency responders, caused accidents, etc. They also mentioned Tesla here, saying Tesla is experiencing problems even at level 2, which requires driver oversight. Now, I could see this happening as they're looking for any excuse to go after Elon Musk, especially now that we're in the 2024 election season. They want Elon to fall in line. Certain groups in government do not like his unwillingness to agree to certain content moderation practices, that type of thing. And doing this just to be a thorn in his side, I could see happening. Number 9 on their list is mass power outages that they believe will hit major U.S. cities, quote, due to retirement of dispatchable power generation, nuclear, coal, gas, and underinvestment in pipelines, gas storage, and winterization, major U.S. cities will face electricity outages and/or natural gas outages, which are much worse, they say. The North American Electricity Reliability Association just released its 2023 risk assessment. Outage risk in more extreme weather conditions is cited for New York, New England, and the entire western U.S. NERC cites peak loads rising at an alarming rate due to electrification, coinciding with increasingly intermittent new sources of generation, wind and solar power. Didn't we just spend trillions of dollars on the Biden administration's infrastructure bill? The Inflation Reduction Act, right? Where'd the money go? You'd think we would have shored up our power grid with some of those dollars. Come on, Pete. Pete Buttigieg, he's the transportation secretary. He's responsible, I believe, for dishing out the money. Also, number 8 is interesting. They say despite storm clouds over U.S. regional banks, their stock prices will do well, which could be true as the finance sector, bank stocks got crushed in 2023. I think they ended the year down 10%. They were down almost double that, but made up some ground in December. You could see it with the KRE, the regional banking ETF. And another story, separate from these JP Morgan predictions, container shipping giant China COSCO Shipping Corp is halting all goods into Israel because of threats and attacks on Houthi militants. Bloomberg writes this: COSCO has a fleet of at least 256 container ships on the water, according to data from Clarkson Research, a unit of the world's largest shipbroker that ranks at 3rd in terms of in-service vessels. It's 4th when including vessels on order. So this is now the 2nd major container shipping company that's halting passage via the Red Sea and ultimately through the Suez Canal. I spoke about this on X the other day, how oil transport through the Red Sea has collapsed. Since December 18th, oil flows have crashed 2.7 million barrels per day, a 53% fall. Well, now, with COSCO Shipping Corp pulling out, those numbers are bound to get even worse. So far, more than $200 billion in trade over the last several weeks has been diverted to different waterways. The Speaker of the House, Republican Mike Johnson, announces a $1.66 trillion bipartisan package to avert a government shutdown. The deal sets aside $886.3 billion for defense spending and $772.7 billion in domestic discretionary spending. How is it that we spend more on the military than we do at home? For this specific budget, I mean, almost $1 trillion a year on the military. Think about that. And yet the Pentagon hasn't ever passed a single audit. Nobody in Congress really knows where the money goes. The deal also accelerates the $20 billion in IRS cuts that were passed a few months ago, that $80 billion that the Democrats appropriated to the IRS last year. Well, in this new deal, they claw back that $20 billion, or they accelerate the clawing back of it. Now, at the moment, this is completely bipartisan at the leadership level. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell are both on board, as well as Mike Johnson and Hakeem Jeffries. The White House is also supporting the bill. Notably, though, this doesn't provide any new funding for Ukraine nor Israel, something that could make it easier to get passed, as Democrats want funding for Ukraine and typically Republicans, in large part, don't. We'll keep an eye on this, as the official deadline is January 19th. The unofficial deadline, though, is allegedly February 3rd. That's when we really run out of money. When the Treasury's bank account, their TGA, the Treasury General Account, hits zero. In another story, consumer credit just exploded higher in November by $24.75 billion. This blew the roof off the $9 billion analysts were expecting. This clearly answers the question, by the way, how shoppers were able to push holiday spending to a record nominal highs. Well, now we know, using credit. Americans love credit, credit cards, lines of credit, personal loans, any sort of financing we eat up and devour. Well, this was the biggest monthly gain since last year, since last November, and comes while interest rates were at record highs. Not good when those monthly statements begin rolling in. All right, that wraps up this episode. Press the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.